And welcome in, everybody, to another edition of the Top of Thunder podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Hunzinger at Thunder Chats. We are part of the Believe Network, and I'm excited to talk about some Thunder basketball today. And I'm not doing it by myself. I've got some lovely gentlemen with me today. So first of all, we've got I say it for everybody. I got to say it for this guy too. So the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Matty Double Dribbles, as he has labeled himself, Tyranny. What up, Tyranny?
I did that. Not too much. The NBA is kind of a mess right now. Whole net coaching scandal. I've been trying to keep up with it. I don't know what's going on. It seems like Udoka is just like gonna not be suspended anymore, which is kind of weird and uncomfortable, but whatever. But aside from that, now I'm much happier because yet again, the Thunder just decided to win the game for some reason and come back and out of a fourth quarter's deficit. And so we're sitting here with a 4-game winning streak. I couldn't be more excited. I'm just happy to talk about it with you guys.
There you go. And with a name like Matty Double Dribbles, when we do the media 3-on-3 tournament, you're probably gonna be sitting on the bench, Tierney. Just got to tell you. But anyways,
to the name, you know.
Yeah. Anyways, we've got a couple other people here. So speaking of that 3-on-3 tournament, that we've got the guy that's going to carry us, the bucket, the 3-cone. What up, Connor?
I thought you were going to Alex there with all that. But I'm doing good. This win streak's been incredible. It's so nice to just kind of see some winning basketball. This team is playing incredibly well, even without Chet Holmgren. Lockdown defense, continuous comebacks, the huge one against the Mavericks. And then tonight we were down 15 in the third quarter, and it almost looked like all hope was lost. And then they completely flipped the switch. We're going to talk about Shai a lot, but it's really fun, man. And people are starting to notice Shai in particular, and kind of, I think, just this Thunder team as a whole.
Yep. Absolutely. And before we get into all that, we've got one more person to introduce. We got Alejandro. What up, Alex?
What up, man? Just excited to do this pod with you guys because all your lovely faces. So
yes, sir. We got a quad pie, man. A little bit of housekeeping. This is our first podcast we've released in a week. Sadly, I had COVID last week, and scheduling conflicts abound and didn't get a pod out, but hey, we're here now. We're excited. A lot of exciting things to talk about. And when you're talking about Thunder basketball, you're talking about what to be excited about. That you can't go much further than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who has been playing out of his mind lately. And to start off the conversation, he has been rewarded. People are starting to pay attention, as Cone mentioned. The NBA has named him the Western Conference Player of the Week this week, alongside Giannis Antetokounmpo for
every week
Eastern
for the year.
Conference.
We're going to go with that.
I mean, hey, if he keeps playing like this, it's going to be hard to keep him off.
There's only about 8 weeks left, so I mean, if he can go ahead and garner 8 Player of the Week awards, that'd be great.
That is fair. That's fair. It'd be great for a standing for all the other agendas we're trying to push. And before the year, we was talking about MIP, we was talking about All-Star, and now we might have been setting our expectations too low with how Shai's playing. But let's get into it. So I'm going to go to Cone first because, if there's two guys that love Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on the planet, it's me and Connor. I almost said your last name there, so I stopped myself. Cone, what have you been most impressed with in Shai's just like scorched earth last 6 games?
Man, it's hard to even say because it just feels like every second he does something where my jaw drops. I'm like, I don't know how he did that, whether it's the clutch shots he's knocking down, just like the buckets that he's making don't feel like they should be possible. The moves that he pulls off, that one spin move he had at like half court against the Magic.
Yeah.
If he had finished that layup, it would have been one of the greatest. It probably would have been the peak of basketball, in my opinion. But man, it's just been incredible. The thing I think I want to highlight though is his defense. He has been locked down on that end. And it's like, not even just, we're putting him on like a bad player or anything. We have Lou Dort, who's an incredible defender. Shai's holding his own against some incredible players so far. I just saw a stat. I'm going to see if I can find it again about Shai's game, but he has been like racking up steals, blocks, getting passing lanes, legitimately flipping the momentum of this game with his defense tonight. Just we're so used to seeing him hit incredible shots, but the locked in mentality that he has on defense is the huge thing that's going to swing him from all NBA guy to like, potentially like top 10 guy in the league when he hits his prime. Because if he's scoring like this and playing this level of defense, there's no reason why he can't be one of those top 10 guys.
Yeah, and on the defense, I tweeted this out earlier tonight. So Shai had 3 steals tonight alongside 2 blocks. And so that brings his averages for the year for 2.5 steals per game and 1.3 blocks per game. Both are career highs by wide margins. And like it passes the eye test. Like Shai is bothering opposing offenses with his length, and he's become an off-ball menace. I mean, there was at points tonight he absolutely put Franz Wagner in jail. And I
100%.
I did not think that was a sentence that I would be able to say at the beginning of the season last year, what have you. Obviously Shai came into the league with the reputation of being a lockdown defender. And as the burden of the NBA offense, fell on his shoulders, that kind of fell by the wayside. Having guys like Lou Dort pick up the slack, that kind of fell by the wayside. It's 6 games in, it's a small sample size. Let's get to about 20 to see if he can keep this up. But if he can keep up this level of play on defense, if two-way Shai is really here, the league doesn't know what's gonna the league doesn't know what it's got on its hands. So, Alex, let's go to you, man. What we kind of highlighted the defense. Is anything else specifically kind of stuck out to you for Shai?
I mean, I just want to go ahead and congratulate you, Dylan, because the laboratory comment that you say every offseason, it appears to be bearing a shit ton of fruit, here lately. So I just want to congratulate you on that. The in the lab comment is coming to fruition, and I love seeing it. As far as Shai, man, I think. I think we're just seeing the ascension of somebody who, you have different levels of basketball. You have different levels of skill in basketball. And I think Shai has reached that level where he knows he can score whenever he wants. Now he has to be able to score in a way that affects the game. There are scorers in this league, and then there are scorers who can affect the game and affect how the game is going.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, he's kind of been ratcheting up every season as far as hey, I can score. I can, I have this set of skills. He's out here being the hitman from that movie. He has a set of skills that he can kill you with.
Taken, yeah.
Taken. But now he knows that he can score at will. Now he wants to know how he can affect the game and at what points he can affect the game, because he's doing it in different spurts. He's doing it, in the fourth quarter, he's doing it, in a third quarter deficit makeup, where they're trying to get back. And so that ascension, that skill set is the one that's going to, I think, push him into becoming a top 10 player in this league. And I didn't think that he could get there. Honestly, did not think he could get there. Honestly thought, top 20, top 25 player, and that we were trying to draft our top 10 player. But if he continues this, and this is consistent, and this is something that, he can do in high pressure games consistently, we got our 1A. Now we're just filling in the spots around him. So completely excited about that.
Yes, sir, man. He's been his scoring has been super impressive, and I'm not going to step on Tierney's toes. I'll get into my high point here in a second, but yeah, what's wild is he's getting these buckets without shooting threes. He's averaging 4 threes a game. He's made 1.5 at this point. Actually, I think it's gone lower since he went 0 for 3 tonight. But that's not really part of his game, and he's not losing any bit of dominance, any bit of control that he's had on this game. So that's really impressive. That's truly impressive. But Tierney, what about you, man? What stuck out for Shai for you?
Yeah, I mean, Alex and Cohn kind of said pretty much all the different things I was going to say, so I won't take too much time. And also, I realize my internet's kind of laggy, so apologize if I'm cutting in and out. But yeah, as far as the defense, that was the thing I was going to mention. His defense tonight against Wagner, I mean, a couple people on social media were talking about it already. It was phenomenal. And the other thing I could just tell from watching was just it's a trickle down effect where you see like everyone's just like more aggressive. Everyone's just like poking at the ball, like just like causing chaos, especially tonight when when I was watching into that, it was just hard for the Magic to like get settled in. And I think that starts from Shai's like aggressiveness on defense. And so what's really exciting about that also is if you think about like, obviously we have Dort, who is sort of our wing defender. We've got Shai, who's kind of all over the place. And then once Chet comes back and he is the premier post defender that we think he is, that is an incredible, promising defense for this team moving forward. So that alone is just like really fun to think about. But yeah, like, and also what I was going to say on offense, what you mentioned, Dylan, was like, he's not shooting great on three, but he doesn't have to because he is so he's seemingly unstoppable going to the rim. That said, I still think like looking forward, building around this team, you probably still need to get those shooters out there. Dort did a great job tonight. Poku had some moments as well, shooting on the perimeter. So like it was great, but I don't like long term. I still think we need those extra pieces on the sort of the 3 and D, well, not necessarily the D guys, but the 3 guys to really support Shai because maybe it does improve, but I feel like the development of his game is shifting away from that. And as defenses take the Thunder more seriously as they get better, they're going to make Shai shoot the 3 if he's so dominant inside and like do whatever they can to stop him from driving. And then if he's forced to take the 3 and nobody else can help him, then that's a problem. So looking just kind of ahead, I mean, we've been talking a lot of positives on Shai, and I don't want to take away from that, but just sort of thinking ahead as well. Like that's obviously like a big thing we need to keep in mind if that's the way his offensive trajectory is going to go, is sort of surrounding him with more shooters. Because I don't feel like it's enough right now. I haven't looked at the stats too much yet, but it doesn't feel like it's enough, and so that's a big addition to our roster looking forward.
So I just want to bring up a point that I am noticing and hoping. So the Thunder have always been like a step slow when it comes to the way things are run in the NBA. So, we were a couple years slow on having like a big man and a big power forward. So Serge Ibaka, Kendrick Perkins, by the time we got them established, the league had kind of moved on into small ball. And so it took us a while to get to that point, to get like a small ball type core, which I don't think we ever did consistently or successfully enough to win a championship. But we started to kind of trend in that direction when we, traded for, traded Perkins and then brought in somebody who was more of a rim runner, somebody who was more of a threat in Steven Adams. And then the game kind of completely changed into like a 3 in space type game. And the Thunder, for as much as they tried to, never got to that point. I wonder if the pendulum is now swinging towards the mid-range again. So everything was built on the 3-point shot, pace and space. And so defenses have adjusted. The entire NBA has adjusted at this point. I wonder if now the next evolution of the game is going to be having 5 players on the floor that can go ahead and create on their own, as the Thunder are trying to do, and then also having the ability to score from the mid-range, not necessarily just depending on a 3-point shot, not necessarily depending on going into the paint, but now defenses are focused in on those 2 areas. What's open now? So it's going to be the mid-range. And so I'm just wondering and hoping that the Thunder are at the forefront of, maybe this new evolution that's happening in the game as far as going back to the mid-range, because that's the spots that those are the spots that are open now because defenses are keyed into the paint and to the 3-point shot.
Yeah, and I mean, hey, if that's the case, like, I mean, we've seen Shai's the killer, man. It doesn't matter, like, Tierney, what you saying, like, in theory, like, that makes a lot of sense. Like, eventually they can just stop him from driving into the lane and force him to shoot threes. I don't know, man. The Magic had a lot of length, a lot of bodies on the floor tonight, and there was a few times they had 5 people going at Shai, and they still weren't stopping him. But no, I 100% I understand what you mean, and I agree with you. I mean, it's not been a secret. We need to get Shai more shooting. I'm still a believer in a shot. I still think that he'll be able to shoot it down the line. Like, I don't think it's like completely broken. It's slow. It's a little bit slow, but I don't think it's broken. But I mean, like I said, man, at this point, if you're getting buckets like this, like, don't go force a 3, like, go get a bucket, like when we need a bucket, and we've needed it. My big takeaway for Shai, and I kind of added this up while you guys was talking. So tonight he had 13 points in the fourth quarter, 13 of his 34 points. The game before, he had 16 of his 38 in the final 11 minutes. That's the fourth quarter and overtime. He had 6 points in the fourth quarter of the Clippers game. So like in his last 3 games, he's scored, I think 34 or 35 points in the fourth quarter and overtime. Like, it's been no secret that Shai is like this awesome clutch performer, but like it feels like this season it's in overdrive. And with the exception of the game that, Shai missed, obviously, in the Timberwolves game, I think we only lost by like 10 points anyways. But every other game the Thunder's been in has been a single-digit game. Like, the Thunder are playing in close basketball games. And, like, not just Shai, but the rest of this team is getting a lot of experience in clutch moments and, trying to overcome that. So, if Shai keeps getting this experience, man, like, we've already seen what he could do in the clutch. Like, if he can keep like getting these reps in the clutch, like when these games like really matter, like he's gonna be a problem. Like he's gonna be a crazy problem. And the other thing I wanted to highlight is just his free throw shooting. Like the past, every year of his career, he shot like right around 80%. And again, it's early.
The bum missed one today.
Yeah, he missed one. I was upset about
Close your eyes when he's at the line. Oh my God, they're gonna start hacking him.
Shooting 34 for 35 on the year, like just
they jinxed him. They literally started talking about it, and he missed one. Of course the second.
Of course they did. It's that's what it is, man. Like that's what they do in sports. They start talking about it. It's like the no hitter, man. You don't want to talk about it. Like just let it happen. But and speaking of the line, as we kind of close out this conversation, we talked about how Shai, I think he's like the leader on NBA.com's MIP ladder right now. Obviously, like the All-Star conversation is alive and well. There's people that are saying if he's continuing this type of play, like going into the All-Star break, forget All-Star, he'll be All-NBA consideration. But when he was shooting free throws tonight, at the end of the game, the Paycom Center was chanting MVP. And it was amazing. And you know what? Like it's a little funny, but the way he's playing right now, he's playing MVP caliber basketball. Last thing I got to say on Shai before we move on. Prior to tonight, there are only 4 players in the league that are averaging 35 and 5, and that is Luka Doncic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Steph Curry, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. That is all I have to say on that.
The best players in the league. Also, I saw a couple things coming out from some Thunder media guys after the game. Shai said that the MVP chants felt like he was in a video game and that they were super cool. And then let me find the exact quote real quick. It was about Paolo and Chet. He praised Paolo, and then he said, "Oh, but Chet Holmgren is the number 1 overall pick, by the way." After the game, so shout out to Shai for that one.
I love it, and that's what's important. Go ahead.
Hey, let's fantasize real quick, okay? So let's say 28, 6 rebounds, 6.5 assists. Where do the Thunder need to be in the standings for him to get serious MVP consideration?
Oh, MVP?
If we're in playoff conversation,
I think we'd have to be like a 6.
Like top 6.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
You got to be out of play.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. And I doubt it 100%. I doubt it. But these numbers and these performances early on are very MVP-like, and so we can fantasize.
This isn't against slack competition either.
Yeah.
Like,
No, it's not.
The Magic was our worst opponent that we've played all year. Like, based on how they're gonna finish, and I mean their length bothered us like crazy. Like their length was bothering Shai early on in the game, but I mean, yeah, we found a way to win, and Shai found a way to put up his buckets. But all right, enough about Shai. I can go on about Shai all night.
One other thing. Let me butt in.
Tierney wants to talk about Shai more.
Don't blame him.
Is BetOnline do we still have the same sponsor that is for sports betting?
Yeah, we still got BetOnline.
Yes. Okay. BetOnline.
This show is sponsored by betonline.ag.
Yes. By the way, free plug. It turns out you can actually watch live NBA games on their website, even if you don't have a subscription. I did that today. So other thing I was going to mention, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander plus 330 for most improved player. He's moved up a little bit. Still not top 10, but after tonight, they'll probably go up.
Yeah, y'all need to bet on that while you still can. That.
Good money right there.
It could be a lock.
Good.
All right. But yeah, like I said, there was some other things that happened in this past week. As we mentioned in the beginning, we're on a 4-game win streak. We're over 500. I think I saw a tweet. I think Yosef Thunder Film Room tweeted out that it's the first time we've been over 500 since January of the Chris Paul year. So that is that's a stat right there. But we're going to talk about some takeaways from the rest of the games from some of the other guys in a segment we like to call the single large item. All right, I always pause, but I forget to put in the audio drop. So just an awkward pause there. Let's go backwards this time. Let's start with Tierney. Tierney, what is your single large item?
I don't know this segment. Why are you starting with me?
It's just a takeaway, man. Just something that you wanted to talk about in one of the 4 games that is not Shai.
Okay. Well, my big takeaway for one of the 4 games, I wasn't sure what the format is because I was wondering if people were just going to come up with one. Whatever. Anyway,
I can go if you want me to.
Nope, too late.
Okay.
I'm going. My one thing I was going to talk about was the Thunder's. What do I want to say here? The Thunder's inability to realize that there is not enough time, yet they don't care. Whatever the word is for that, because as we alluded to a couple minutes ago, maybe. The Mavericks game was one of the most insane finishes I have recalled in a long time. They were down by 16 points with 4 minutes to go. And I looked up the specific play-by-play after the game to really just to fully detail how crazy this ending was and for how many things to go right for the Thunder. So real quick, I'm going to snap through these because it's a lot, but it's crazy. So at 3:57, the Thunder were down 97-81, 16-point deficit. Baisley hits 1 of 2 free throws, misses 1, so that's already bad. Mavericks miss. Thunder get the rebound. Doncic fouls. Isaiah Joe makes two free throws, so they're now down 13. Another miss by the Mavericks. Baisley makes a 2-point jumper. Mavericks miss again. Say Gilgeous-Alexander makes a 2-point jumper. Mavericks miss again. Lou Dort makes a 2-point jumper. Mavericks make 1 of 2 free throws. Thunder hit another 2-point shot. They're now down 6 with 1:56 left. They've made 5 in a row besides the free throw at this point.
Yeah.
And we're not even done. Doncic misses again. We miss. We get an offensive rebound. We get 2 points, 4-point lead. Doncic again makes 1 of 2, which, by the way, those 2 Doncic 1 of 2 free throws kind of ended up being a big deal at the end. He missed 2 out of 4, so kind of want to highlight that. They get an offensive rebound on the second miss. Mavericks miss again. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander makes another 2-pointer. Mavericks miss again. Isaiah Joe hits a 3. Tie ball game. They go to overtime. They win. Crazy sequence of events. If you just look at how many times Thunder hit a bucket, Mavericks miss, Thunder hit a bucket, Mavericks miss. That the odds of that are just crazy. And I don't think I've ever, there was one, I think it was like the Bulls, I want to say, or maybe it was the Grizzlies last year, where it was something like that, where they were down an insane amount with not enough time and they did the same thing. But it definitely felt like that was the biggest comeback that I can remember in recent memory, just given the amount of time. So that's my big takeaway. I just wanted to like highlight that period of time because I thought it was awesome.
Oh yeah, man, it was wild. I mean, obviously Shai was huge in that time, but Isaiah Joe, just the ultimate heat check. Like, hasn't played a single minute for the Thunder at that point. Checks in just randomly, 4 minutes left in the game, and changes the game. Doesn't miss a shot.
He is the number one clutch player on NBA.com solely for those 4 minutes that he played. Like that's you can look it up right now. He's statistically the number one clutch player in terms of plus minus.
Yep, I think he was 3 of 3, 2 of 2 from 3-point line, and 3 of 3 from the stripe. And yeah, man, he was awesome. Yeah, so shout out Isaiah Joe on that. I'm going to go ahead and do my single large item, and I just want to talk about Lu Dort because the guy's been struggling shooting this year. Even the games that it looks like he kind of starts to have it going, it turns out that he's still struggling trying to figure it out. I will say he's had some really impressive drives here in the past couple games, like really attacking different angles that we just haven't seen Lu Dort do. Like a lot of the times in the past couple of years, like Lu Dort's just kind of been like a straight line driver, but he's been really methodical in how he gets to the rim and even, with how he's finishing around the rim. So that's been impressive, but his defense, man, like his defense just continues to astound me. Like, tonight he was guarding Paolo for a lot of the game one-on-one. And I know Paolo ended up having, 15, 16 points, something like that. But he didn't get those points on Lu Dort. He got those points on Aaron Wiggins, Jalen Williams, Darius Baisley. Like when Lu Dort was guarding Paolo Banchero looked uncomfortable. Like Lu Dort was making his life difficult. And then you rewind to the game, to the Dallas Mavericks game. Luka Doncic. Like Luka Doncic is one of the best players in the world, one of the best scorers in the world. He's going to get his no matter who is guarding him. But after the game, he was asked about Lu Dort's defense, and he categorized him as one of the top 3 defenders in the league. Now, guys, we're all Thunder fans here. Some of us are more homer than others. I think objectively, like if we're just like talking about defenders in the NBA, I don't think we would have Lu Dort in the top 3. But the fact that Luka Doncic, who, again, one of the top scorers in the league, he's going to get his no matter who's in front of him. He's had these guys in front of him. He's had these guys chasing him all game long. So for Luka to come out, out of his way to credit Lu Dort with being one of those top 3 guys is just a testament to how much of a dog this man is. Because they asked Lu Dort after the game, like, how many screens you think you chased through in this game? And he's just like, man, like, I don't even know. Because, like, that's all they was doing, man. It's just screen after screen, trying to free up Luka Doncic, trying to give, any kind of freedom from Lu Dort's, from the torture chamber. And even at the end, whenever Luka had a shot, like, he kind of got a clean look, but Lu Dort was still there to contest, like just making life difficult for him, making him work for every point that he got. We talked about Shai and how important he is offensively. We talked about his improvement defensively, but Lu Dort's been doing this, and Lu Dort continues to do this. And, we talk about the identity that this team has defensively, specifically at the beginning of the year. And, Shai's been awesome, and some of the other guys have stepped up, but that identity starts and ends with Luka Dort. And, I'm excited to see what else he's got. Anybody else got anything to add about Dort?
He's the man. It's been so fun to watch him play. Yeah, basically the offense, it's hit or miss with him, but the defense is always going to be there. He's always going to be clamping up. He had a big 3 that was the dagger tonight. Mm-hmm. And yeah, like you said, hounding Luka. Damian Lillard also said, I believe it was this past offseason, maybe early on, or maybe it was last offseason.
Oh yeah, on Twitter.
Yeah, Dame in an interview also said that Lou Dort, he was asked to name the top 5 like defenders. He mentioned Lou Dort. That was the first name I believe that he said was Lou Dort. And so now you've got 2 of the top scoring guards in the NBA in recent history, in Luka and Damian Lillard, both saying that Lou Dort's one of those guys. Like you said, I don't think I'd put him top 3 right now, but the fact that guys are noticing him like that, and I'm sure Harden would have something to say about Lou Dort too, just it speaks to how good he is. And then also I wanted to real quick add a stat to what Tierney was saying. We were talking, or he mentioned like not remembering many comebacks of that caliber. There was a stat from Tim McMahon where he said that NBA teams were 9,975 and
I saw this.
when leading by 16 or more in the final 4 minutes of the fourth quarter in the last 25 years. And now it's 9,975 and 2 after the Mavericks losing to the Thunder. So if you want to know how absolutely impossible that comeback was, that's that, because it's almost happened 10,000 times in the past 25 years, and the Thunder were only team number 2 to do it. The other one, I think it was the Timberwolves losing to the Kings in 2020, I believe. So,
oh man, all right,
another 10,000 games for it to happen again.
That's an awesome stat. No, it's going to happen again because we're the Thunder. We tried to do it tonight. We didn't wait long enough. We didn't wait long enough for it to count. So
yeah.
All right, Cone, what's your single large item, brother?
I guess it would kind of just be how much different guys have stepped up. Honestly, it's the defense as a whole is kind of what I want to cover. We were great last year defensively relative to what we have. And this year right now, I'm going to actually see if I can find on NBA.com real quick where we're at after this game. But heading into tonight, we were the 6th best defense in the NBA. We've played the Timberwolves twice, who are really good. We faced the Clippers twice, who have been struggling offensively. They'll be better later on. We faced the Dallas Mavericks with Luka Doncic. It's been incredible what we've done. And we're doing all of this today, we didn't start a single guy taller than 6'9", 6'8", depending on what JRE is with shoes. Yeah. We didn't have anyone against a Magic team that started 4 guys that were 6'10" or taller. We're doing this without having a rim protector and a guy in Chet Holmgren who is supposed to be a generational level defensive prospect. He's supposed to be a defensive player of the year guy for years to come. The fact that we're doing all of this without him, it speaks not only to the play of the guys and the way that they're buying into this, because it's clear how much hustle they give, but also Mark Daigneault deserves a ton of credit for the way that he's schemed this team, the way that he's tried out so many weird and different lineups that I see someone on the court. I'm like, this is interesting. I'm curious to see how it works. And it feels like almost all, there's a few here and there that don't do great, but it almost always feels like each lineup has its own unique identity that they figure out very quickly. It's been super fun to watch how he's experimented and figured things out defensively. We talked about Shai and Dort. Jeremiah Robinson-Earl has held his own, doing a pretty solid job. Poku he was great defensively tonight. I don't think I've ever seen him be that physical before in a game. And you have to be when we have that many, tall guys out there against us on the Magic. He's one of our few guys that's a legit 7-foot tall guy, but he's got a thin frame and he was still banging down low. He was blocking shots, doing everything we needed him to do. He's been solid. Trey Mann has looked really solid on that end. Giddey's gotten his hand poked away a couple of balls when he's played. It's just been so fun to watch. You wouldn't think a team with no guy that's a legit center in the typical sense of the word, and they're all young. Most guys on the team are 23, 24, 22, 21, or even younger. You wouldn't expect this to be a good defensive team, and every single night they give it their all. And not just that, but they dominate on that end a lot of nights. They look incredible, and win or lose, they're going to clamp up some of the opposing team's best players, which has been super fun to watch. Unless you're Wendell Carter Jr., then you are the greatest player to ever play, because he did not miss tonight, I swear. But all around, man, it's just been so fun to watch this team play defense. And then, we're going to have Chet back next year, and we're already one of the best defenses in the league. I keep thinking about him playing. It's so heartbreaking that he isn't. If he is, we were in so many of these games, we could very well be 5-3, or we're 4-3, and we could very well be 5-2 right now, or maybe even better if Chet had played in all of these games.
Yeah, man.
Just real quick to add to what Cone was saying, I looked it up while he was talking. We're now number 5 because we moved up.
Top 5 or top 5 defense.
I'll take it. Top 5 defense, baby.
Without our best defender.
Incredible.
Just crazy, man. Yeah, it's bittersweet, man, because, we're, like you said, the defense is doing great. Obviously, Shai's playing the way he's playing. And something that could help both of those facets is Chet Holmgren. Tierney, you want more shooting around Shai? How about a 7-footer that can step out and, space the floor and knock down a 3-pointer? Like, that's something that this offense is missing. Defensively, like Cone said, we didn't start anybody over 6'9". JRE and Poku, like they're both like good in their own right, but like they aren't deterrents at the rim like a Chet Holmgren is on defense. So yeah, like it's awesome to like talk about all this. And it honestly is exciting to think of, what's going to happen whenever we throw Chet. And not only just Chet, but whoever we get in the first round of the NBA draft this year. Like, I've said a million times, this is a super deep draft class. We're going to get a lottery pick, whether it's ours or maybe it's the Clippers at this point. We're going to get a lottery pick, and, it's going to make this team even better. So I'm very excited. All right, Alex. You've gone in and out a little bit there. I'm sorry to keep you waiting. Every time I'm about to go to you, it cuts out. So what's your single large item, brother?
So just one quick thing before I get started on my thing is on piggybacking off of what Cone was talking about with Dagnall and his lineups. I've also enjoyed, because we've had situations with previous coaches where they keep players in there too long and it ends up losing us the game. Like Dagnall has, over the span of these first 7 games, if you're not performing, I'm taking you out. We've seen that with Baisley, we've seen that with Poku, we've seen that with Trey Mann from time to time. If you're not performing, I'm taking you out. And even, heading into like halftimes, like he'll change the starting lineup, coming into the halftime without injuries, not due to injuries. And so I have totally liked that. This is something that if you're going to be playing a style of basketball where everybody on the floor is going to be able to create, everybody on the floor is going to be able to, rebound and go. You can do that. You can substitute in and substitute out, and maybe the lineups change, but the consistency is there. But my point, and kind of again piggybacking off of Cone and piggybacking off of what you guys were talking about as far as starting, a starting lineup of less than 6'9" and stuff like that. Our rebounding has been completely great. Like I thought that was going to be, especially when Chet got hurt. If Chet was still playing out, I would totally expect us to be in the top half of rebounding. But when Chet went out and we didn't keep Derek Favors, and so, we knew that our front line was going to be a little bit thin, a little bit short. I thought that the rebounding was going to suffer immensely. And it has been the opposite. Like, you have gang rebounding now. You have our guards rebounding. You have Jalen Williams out there. You have, you just have a team-centric focus on rebounding and getting the ball. Do we get out-rebounded sometimes? Yes, we do. Tonight, prime example, I believe the last two to three games we've gotten out-rebounded, but not by a lot. And then that first Clippers game, I think we out-rebounded the Clippers like 69-50 and like 21-10 on the offensive end. So, I mean, that's where you probably get your, you break away a little bit from the pack. But again, when you talk about defense, rebounding is a part of defense, getting that ball back and, pushing it to the other end. And so that's been kind of my biggest surprise this season is we're a darn good, rebounding team. And we haven't been a good rebounding team since the days of, Steven Adams and Enes Kanter and all them. And it's surprising that this team is the one that has been so good on that end. Will that continue? I don't know. I don't know if they can sustain that. But if this is a team-wide effort, possibly. And if that happens, their defense stays pretty good. It'll stay static. So, that's my big takeaway from the sport game win streak.
Yeah, and as you was talking, I went and looked at our rebounding stats. We're actually 6th in the NBA right now.
I saw that too.
Rebounding.
Yeah.
So
and seventh in offensive rebounding.
Yeah, so that's impressive. Offensive rebounding is all effort, and we've seen it tonight. And talking about gang rebounding, we haven't even talked about like closing the game tonight. Dagnall went with Trey Mann over Josh Giddey. And, the advantage to that is, shooting on the floor, obviously. And, obviously Trey's been healthy. Giddey's getting over an injury a little bit. But and what you're giving up on that is legitimate height and rebounding. Like Josh Giddey's one of the best rebounders on the team. But I remember specifically, like Trey Mann, like late in the game, exploded at the glass to secure a defensive rebound there down the stretch. And he gave right to Shai, and then Shai did what he did, and clutched up the game. But like, it's that gang rebounding, man, because JRE, as not as short as he is. He's still huge compared to us, but as short as he is compared to the rest of the NBA, Poku as frail as he is compared to the NBA, like just all these guys getting in position and like putting the effort toward getting, towards attacking the glass is definitely a huge step in that direction. So yeah, I love it, man. I love it. All right, Alex got a peace out, so take it easy, Alex. Have a good night, brother. We're gonna close out this podcast with a small discussion, and then we're gonna do predictions for the week. And so, basically, guys, this team is 4-3 now. We're over 500. Obviously, whenever Chet went down, the expectations were that the Thunder rigged this. Like they were doing this intentionally so they could tank for Victor Wembanyama. And that's Presti needs to be fined for this. Presti must be stopped. He can't keep getting away with this, all that stuff. Now this team is on a 4-game win streak against some of the better teams in the league. And we do have some tests coming up against the Denver Nuggets, Milwaukee Bucks. Like we still have a very tough schedule to round out this last 20 games. And 20 is a pretty good sample size for what you're kind of what you have with the team. So it might still be early for this conversation. But in the battle between tanking and pushing for the play-in, today, after we defeated the Orlando Magic in another comeback victory, Connor, I'm going to you first, man. Where do you stand?
Real quick, I just want to say something I remembered. When we did predictions last podcast I was on, I called Shai winning player of the week, and I just remembered that. So
we got to pull it up. We got to clip it. I
want my flowers on that because we were talking about, first of all, I said we were only going to get 1 or 2 wins. So I didn't call that part correctly, but I said Shai was going to keep playing like this and win player of the week. So I would like my flowers on that.
It's okay.
One.
I'll chop it up for you.
We'll make a graphic. We'll make a graphic. Cone.
Yeah, I want I'm gonna put a small trophy back here in the background or something.
Yeah.
But
wait, do we have a YouTube? Can we just edit it in?
Yeah. We can throw in a little trophy right
there.
Oh yeah, right there.
Right there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we're a playing team. I've reached the point where I thought with Chet we would have a shot, but at this point with the way Shai's playing, the Kings look terrible, the Lakers look terrible. Maybe either of those teams make a move and figure things out, but there still is plenty of time. We were 7 games into the season.
Yeah.
The Spurs and Jazz are both pretty good. So those are 2 teams that, maybe they could end up being better than us, but I still believe the Spurs are going to come back down to earth a little bit. They don't really have a player of Shai's caliber. There's also reports that Jakob Poeltl is available for trade. I just don't see either of those teams. It's going to be their first year of the rebuild. I think they both come back down to earth and trade off some of those pieces. Clarkson will be gone. Mike Conley could be gone. I'm starting to think we're a playing team. Maybe we're the 10 seed, but with the way Shai's playing, the way the defense is operating, I'm not saying we're going to make the playoffs or anything, but it's starting to feel a lot more realistic that we are sitting at that 10 spot at the end of the season. And I think this upcoming stretch will say a lot about it because, like you said, we've got a lot of tests. We have the Nuggets and Bucks back to back, then the Pistons, then the Bucks, then the Raptors,
Bucks
then the
again,
Knicks,
yeah.
then the Celtics, Wizards, Grizzlies. There's a lot of really good teams in there. So, yeah, we're going to have to see.
Yeah.
This is going to be the stretch that determines, I think, following these next 6-8 games or whatever, however many I read off there, following that stretch, I feel like we will know whether or not this is a play-in team or if it's, just kind of another year where we're going to end up in the lottery, more competitive though. But I think we're going to end up there. I think at this point we're going to make the play-in, and I'm perfectly fine with that because at this point with the way Shai's playing, I don't think there is a way to, you see like the Rockets out there and they've got some like interesting young talent, but they don't have a player like Shai at the moment who, Jalen Green could maybe be that guy someday, but he's not there yet. The Magic, they don't have a player of his caliber. He's just too good to tank.
I like it. Well, we got to clip that. That was amazing. That was one take cone. All right, Tierney, how are you feeling about this, man?
Before I talk about it, I just realized when we were talking about the trophy thing, I mentioned YouTube. I was leaning back, and I noticed like all behind me is just like a mountain of unfolded laundry that everyone will see if this goes on video. Which I don't care if you guys see, but if it's on YouTube now, I'm like very self-conscious, so I apologize. But no, I'm doing a full 180 on what Cone's take is. I still think they are not a playoff team, and I still think they'll be not as heavily in the lottery, but like kind of in the lottery this year. And there's a couple reasons. One, like Cone said, I looked at the schedule. It looks terrifying. Things are going to be really rough. Two, I said they were going to stink. So this is sort of like a reverse jinx that I'm trying to keep up. So if I keep saying they stink, they might just be good. So I'm like trying to play that role.
I like it.
And then I forgot the third role. So there's only two. So those are the two that I'm going with. So I'm just going to go with it. I think we're going to have a bad week. Which is a little bit of so I'll just get it out of the way. My week preview. I think, so we've got 4 games, right? We have Nuggets, Bucks, Pistons, Bucks. I'm going to go 0-4. I'm going to say we lose all those games, including the Pistons. Kay is going to have a great game. And we're going to be looking back next week next week for me when I'm back on, and we're going to see a different trajectory than we do right now because we're feeling high and awesome with these 4 wins. But I think we're going to follow it up with 4 losses. They're due. So it's going to come sometime.
The down of a 4-game losing streak after a 4-game winning streak is going to
roller coaster.
Would be not fun. So
roller coaster.
I'm kind of going switch one on my take here. So before the season, before Chet got hurt, I said that I think we can have our cake and eat it too. I think there's a chance that we could be in the play-in and also be in the lottery because there's that sweet spot where you can be in the play-in and still be like, that like 12, 13, 14 range of lottery. So that's kind of where I was saying we would be before Chet got hurt. When Chet got hurt, me, much like everybody else thought we was firmly in the tank race. Now that we're seeing this team, and it's not just Shai the way he's playing, Dort and the way he's been playing defense, our rookie stepping up, like Santa's putting in some really good minutes. Ousmane Dieng is putting in some great minutes when he gets out there. Shout out Dieng gang. And, everybody's contributing. And, it goes back to that identity that Cone talked about that Daigneault has set up with this team on defense, rebounding, like Alex had talked about. And in terms of offensive identity, like all these guys can do something with the ball in their hands. Like once, with the exception of Darius Bazley, when the ball gets in your hand, you make a quick decision. You drive, you shoot, or you pass it. And, that goes towards the identity that, Mark Daigneault has set up for this team. And, if we can keep up playing like this, I'm not saying Shai has to play at this level for the rest of the year or anything like that, but I'm honest. I wouldn't be shocked to see us in the play-in. I wouldn't be shocked to see us in the playoffs if Shai really steps up like this. But when I say I'm going Switzerland, I just don't care, man. This team could finish 30. This team could finish number 1 in the league. As long as my guy Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is playing on the basketball court, and as long as this team is healthy and they're improving and they're developing and they're growing and they're learning, I don't care where we finish. I don't care where we pick in the draft. We have the bones of our roster. We have the core of our roster. We're going to add a piece next year in the draft, but guess what? We're guaranteed to add Chet Holmgren next year. So, I don't care what happens. I'm along for the ride. I'm here, whatever it is. If we enter the tank wars and, we go all in the off season towards the draft, and like we just go all in on draft coverage again, I'm there for it. If we're making a legitimate play-in push and like talking about, jockeying for positioning in the standings, after the All-Star break, and like we get to talk like postseason basketball on a Thunder podcast again, I'm here for it as well. But yeah, I don't care, man. I'm having a great time. I'm like, this is a great time to be a Thunder fan because, Presti talks about in his press conference about, burning your expectations because everybody thinks we're going to be tanking. I don't necessarily think that even if, if Shai was to get hurt or something like that, like, yeah, we would probably bottom out. But I don't think even if some of these other teams step up, we're going to be like tanking. Like, I think we'll kind of be in like that middle of the pack tank, if we do end up in that spot. But Presti also talks about how we're on this quest to reach the next mountain. Like, we climbed this mountain with the Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden team. And, we've kind of been descending, and we're trying to start the next climb of this mountain. And we're there, guys. Like, we're there. We're starting that climb. Like, it's, we thought starting next year. It's starting this year. And, habits are being formed. Tendencies are being laid out. And I'm excited for what I'm seeing on the court. And I just want to enjoy the ride. So I'm Switzerland, boys. I'm Switzerland.
There you go. Yeah, it's... If we make the playoffs, that's amazing. If we get Victor Wembanyama, that's cool too. We get any of these guys. That's one of the most fun things I feel like about what's happening so far. Like, I'm like so invested in this team. Like, I want to see them succeed because I know the guys want to succeed. I know, Shai like always says in his interviews, like, we all like to win here. They want to be competitive. And it was cool before the season. He said, we're going to be more competitive than people give it. Or he said, I don't think we're going to be bad for much longer because he was talking about how like, people are always like, oh, like free Shai, stuff like that. And I mean, we're not bad. We're a pretty solid team so far. So it's just cool to see, I still, always picture Victor Wembanyama in a Thunder jersey, but it's okay. It'll be fun to see Chet block him on whatever team he ends up on in the finals in a few years to win the game. So it'll be cool.
Yes. It'll be awesome to see Chet win Rookie of the Year over Wemby next year anyway. So
yeah, it would have caused too much drama with them in the same team. Both are going.
The only reason Chet will win Rookie of the Year over Victor Wembanyama is because we will have Victor Wembanyama, and they both can't win Rookie of the Year on the same team, yeah, right, guys?
His name says Matty Double Dribble. Matty double down on his tape. So, all right. So Tierney already said that we're going 0-4 in our next 4 games. So
yep.
Nuggets, the Bucks, the Pistons, the Bucks. I'm tempted to go Switzerland again, just say 2-2, but I want to ride the wave, man. I'm gonna ride the wave. I'm gonna say 3-1. I'm gonna say we'll go 3-1 in the stretch. Colin, what about you?
I'll be Switzerland.
Who's the one? Wait, who's the one lost, Dylan?
Who's the one lost? We lose to Milwaukee once. I think they're too good not to lose to once, if not twice. But I'm optimistic.
Yeah, I was going to go 2-2 anyways. Yeah, so it works out. I think we end up beating the Pistons, and I think we probably maybe we beat the Nuggets. I think that's definitely an easier game. God, thinking about Giannis trying to guard him with him right now is
poor Poku, dude.
Yeah, poor Poku. It's gonna be a fun one to watch. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say 2-2. We beat the Pistons and we win either one of those Bucks games or beat the Nuggets.
See, I mean, hey, tonight's opened my eyes. Like, we've been doing it wrong. We've been trying to throw Bazley on Giannis, Poku on Giannis. Like, we got to put Dort on there.
Put Dort on Giannis. Just commit to it. If we had to guard Shaq, we'd put Dort on him. There's the Dortcher chamber. Doesn't matter what height you are. Anybody.
It doesn't have a height requirement. It does not.
There is none.
Mm-hmm.
No, honestly, chestnut checkers. Usman Jang's going to lock Giannis up. That's all I got to say.
There we go. Welcome to Zhang Gang.
Yes, sir.
Gang,
yes, sir. All right, boys. That's all we got for the day. I mean, we covered a lot. Obviously, like, this Thunder team is very fun. 4-game win streak is very fun. Tierney giving us a little bit of perspective. The road is going to be tough, but I'm optimistic in what I've seen from the guys and the team. And I mean, either way, man, I'm ready to enjoy the ride. So with that being said, on behalf of myself, Tierney, Cone, and Alex, hope you guys have a great night. God bless. Hoop when you can. And as always, thunder up, baby.
Thunder up.
That was a little aggressive on my end.